Yesterday, the Beyblade X Secret Showdown event in Atlanta, Georgia took place, and this was an event exclusively for adults ages 18+. While the controversial nature of the age gate was a slight talking point, it was no less a good sign from both Hasbro and Takara Tomy to acknowledge that there is the adult player-based market in Western countries. The whole pride of the event was presumably an apology from Hasbro and Takara Tomy for age restricting the World Championships to mostly ages 8 to 12, barely giving any representation for the open division for the North Americas. That royally pissed off the community, especially given the only North American representative for the open class was to be found at Anime Expo in Los Angeles, which was an unmitigated disaster during the registration process that resulted in people getting shoved around and trampled on like a stampede of toros. But the biggest saving grace at the Anime Expo event that we have gotten is that Takara Tomy and Hasbro have opened their eyes to the Western competitive market. And then came the Secret Showdown. At first, fans remained skeptical as the event was announced to have a player cap of 100 people, which is less than the Anime Expo event. But however, this event would have all the battles used at Takara Tomy's Standard Stadium rather than the Hasbro ones. This was really the first taste of the real competitive market. Among the attendees were Razu Ryan, Zuma Blader, TMS Beyblade, and fellow cute Asian Left Burst, all in attendance at the event and participating. I won't go over what happened in the whole tournament, I will just give some cliff notes to the stuff that transpired. According to Nazuma, the entire tournament was played in a 1v1 format, meaning you can only go the entire tournament with the one blade combo only. Which is pretty strange considering that in Japan, they are played in 1v1 format in the preliminaries and only switched to 3v3 in the semifinals. They did the exact same thing as they did in the Anime Expo, but for here, it's non-existent. And apparently, it was a packed house, meaning they once again exceeded expectations of how many people would show up for the event. Now, one of the most controversial things was that they once again got people playing on the ground instead of having dedicated stands like Japan has for their events. And that was controversial because the ground isn't exactly that level, but I got a feeling that they are still working on fixing that. Another controversial thing about the event was that someone controversial was one of the judges of the event. For this event, they actually reached out to the Georgia Beyblade community to help judge the games, which is actually a really big thing for Hasbro to do, because you want people that actually care about Beyblade and know what they are doing to be judging these games. But the controversy was that one of the judges included the person behind Eastside Beyblades, who is a tournament organizer in Georgia. The guy behind Eastside Beyblades became controversial after having a complete crash out on Twitter back in July over criticisms of banning Wizard Rod and Cobalt Dragoon from his tournaments. That led to ableist and other pretty bad comments. Now, look, I've already made a video talking about that whole thing, and like I said, I'm not angry, I was just disappointed. But apparently he has been doing better with no incidents as far as I know, and at the end of the day, everyone deserves a redemption arc as long as they didn't do anything beyond redemption or double or triple down on their stance, and I am glad that he has bounced back and became better as a result. Overall, the tournament itself ran pretty smoothly and there was no repeat of incidents from the Anime Expo tournament, and as of the time of this recording, there was no bad judge calls either from what we know, and the tournament went on to become a big success, which is an overall win for the community. Apparently as well, the event went a little 10 to 15 minutes overtime because of stamina fights. Damn you, Wizard Rod! And the winning blades were Hover Wyvern, Wizard Rod, and Phoenix Wing. But there is really an important thing about this event, and that is that the event has proven to Hasbro and Takara Tomy that there is a genuine interest from adults for Beyblade. There are genuinely a lot of adults that want to try and make Beyblade into a legit sport. Right now, from what I am seeing, and this is really just speculation mostly, the Secret Showdown is pretty much a beta test for maybe more events like this to be hosted in more locations around the US and maybe even North America. I mean, I know that there are really huge Beyblade communities like in Texas, there is definitely one in Los Angeles, there's one in Florida. Here in Canada, we have a really huge community here in Winnipeg, and in Toronto, they have a pretty big player base there. This to me seems like Hasbro and Takara Tomy are just testing the waters to see if there is really an interest in Beyblade and if they can really run official events smoothly in the West that is not just for children. Because running events for children, it's kind of easy, but running an event for adults is a lot more difficult as they are a lot more smarter and more difficult to please. And the fact that there was a really huge turnout for this event and the fact that this event ran smoothly without incident, and they even reached out directly to the Georgia community organizers to help them out, this could be a sign that Hasbro and Takara Tomy are really really trying their hardest to push competitive content further here in North America and other Western countries. I would really honestly be worried if they saw all the success that the Secret Showdown has had and still think that Beyblade is marketed only to children, when in reality that is just not the case. Everyone of any age can enjoy it, and the adults especially want to help push and elevate the game to become an actual sport. Now, the Secret Showdown was for looking for people to fly out to California to stream a big matchup between the winners, and apparently it's going to be done in a team format where the other competitors are guests and a notable content creator, speculation being it's Kaisa Nat, and it's going to be done on 2 teams of 10, and the winner is first team to 20 points. God damn! And that live stream event is going to be on September 17th, so mark your calendars. But the fact that the Secret Showdown event became as successful as it is, Hasbro and Takara Tomy needs to do a lot more of these. Maybe not for the sake of flying people to places, but like how they are doing in Japan, having regular regulated official events. And hopefully they can have this on a more wider scale. Maybe we can get some of these here in Canada because we have a pretty strong community here in Winnipeg. So if anyone at Hasbro wants to reach out to us, we're always available to make something happen. TMS Beyblade spoke to a Hasbro representative that was in charge of the event, and unfortunately this will be the last one they do in 2025, as the Secret Showdown finale is next week and the World Championships will be taking place next month. However, Law Atlas on Twitter, who was a participant at the event along with Razu Ryan, talked to one of the organizers and they have expressed an interest in getting more events like this planned for the future. So yeah, it seems like the Secret Showdown was a great success. Congrats to everyone involved that participated, and Hasbro and Takara Tomy, please don't stop here. Keep going and keep trying to bring competitive Beyblade to a wider audience. Now let's talk about how pathetic it is that Takara Tomy took Wizard Rod off of the Hall of Fame list and planning to release more reprints of the thing in the future.